As part of Black History Month celebrations, Drake University is inviting you to learn about the Black Panther Party's impact in Des Moines through their community service activities. So joining me now is Jazlin, Coley, Director of Equity and Inclusion at Drake. This was organized through your survival programs.
Yes.
And what I found so interesting about your role in organizing this is when you moved to Des Moines, you were here for several years. Tell us about how this came to be and the history you really found was not being talked about.
Yeah, so actually I stumbled across this history on accident, which is really unfortunate, and I want to make sure that, you know, others are getting this information in a very intentional way. But I stumbled across this on accident. I was actually looking at the traditional community engagement process through universities and how Black and brown students aren't necessarily recognized or rewarded for their efforts in that. And the story of the Black Panther Party and its chapter in Des Moines came up, and I saw the impact that it had on our community socially, economically, politically, and it really, for me, just struck out as being something that this is beyond just students. I mean, this is a campus effort, this is a community effort, this is a way that we can get engaged with our history and continue on some of that work. So within the Black Panthers and their chapter here at Des Moines, they were only here for 2 years, but they held a lot of welfare programs, especially for the advancement of Black people in the community. They've held a lot of, for instance, a free breakfast program at the Children, Family, Urban Movement. So there are a lot of ways that they engage in the community, and there are a lot of ways that organizations, individuals across the state of Iowa and local nonprofits are still continuing on that work.
What's this conversation on Wednesday going to look like?
Yes, so this conversation on Wednesday is going to allow the audience to walk through the history of the chapter and its programs in Des Moines. And also you'll hear from a former Black Panther representative, Jazlin, a local nonprofit who's continuing on the work of the Black Panthers and its chapter, Children, Family, and Urban Movement, and a Drake student as well, Candace Carr, who's leaned into some of the values that the Black Panthers really championed throughout their work in Des Moines. So I'm really excited about that.
Perhaps no more important time than now with how much our country is going through.
Yeah.
And on Wednesday, this is a chance for folks to get involved, to be a part of a conversation that is forward thinking.
Yes.
And, you know, with some grace, a guided conversation that we need to see more progress through.
Right. It's really about highlighting the ways that we've engaged and showing up for one another, protecting one another, especially when it comes to Black advancement, and leaning into that history, because these things have been done. You know, activism, advocacy, whatever, you know, whatever you want to show up in, whatever way you want to show up in, the Black Panthers have done that. The story hasn't been told.
Right.
So on Wednesday, it's really going to outline that story, that history, and hopefully encourage people to engage in similar work that's already being done.
Folks got to sign up on Eventbrite. Where are they going to find you? It starts at what time?
It starts at 6 o'clock, and you can find me in Assessment Theater on Drake's campus.
Okay, so we're going to list that Eventbrite invite, and that is open. You don't have to be a student?
You don't have to be a student. It's open.
I know that's an event that connecting students, the campus community, to the greater community.
Yes.
Those connections need to happen because there's so much thoughtful conversation that happens on campus, but it needs to expand outside of people who perhaps are not attending. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Such important work, and I loved to hear from you how much momentum you're seeing so many people get on board with this.
Yeah, I mean, as of last night, 120 people already registered. And I think that just goes to show that they want the story to be told.
Absolutely.
We want this history really highlighted, especially as we venture into Black History Month. And I encourage students, community members, Drake faculty and staff who come to this event to show up and to give back to the local nonprofits, especially those who are continuing on the work of the Black Panthers, and really just think critically about how we're engaging with the community, knowing that that history is already there and we have a foundation that we can build off of.
Amazing to see the work that you're doing. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
And we hope to see a lot of people come.